At this point, I don't really even know what to say. I just think that this is such a tragedy and it's unfolding, before as so many tragedies right now is unfolding before our eyes in real time. And I think, speaking as a citizen, and I think when I say this, I probably speak for a lot of us, there's a sense of helplessness as you watch awful things happen, and you really have no ability to put hands on it, to put arms on it, and to fix it. There's really, this era has taught me at least a powerful civics lesson in just how powerless we as citizens can sometimes be. And yes, if you live in a democracy, which this still claims to be, you have the vote, you have economic withdrawal, you have these means and methods at your disposal to affect change. But by the same token, events like this have a way of just making you feel very, very small,
Yeah.
and sort of like flotsam on the sea of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah. What happens, you think, long term in a democracy, or as I call it, an experiment in democracy, when the problems become so big, so intractable, the issues of such vehement proportion that everyday people feel like they have no agency?
I think it ceases to be a democracy, and I think that's what's in the process of happening in this country,
Hmm.
pretty obviously. Um, I think that if if we're all playing the same game and we're all playing by the same rules, and I accept that, and I understand that I may lose this round, I may lose the next round, but then I'll go ahead and win a couple of rounds, and
Hmm.
that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way it works. And as an adult in a democracy, you accept that. But what is hard to accept is when you lose around and you lose around and you lose around and you lose around, and you realize it's not because you lost those rounds or not because there was any flaw in the way you played the game,
Yeah.
but because the board is fixed.
Yeah.
The game is tilted, and we're seeing that happen more and more. We're seeing it happen more openly than I would have ever imagined possible. They've dropped the fig leaves. They're
Yeah.
they're out there buck naked with their corruption, and that, I think, makes it hard to sustain a democracy, because you do not continue. If we're playing Monopoly, and every time you pass go, you get $200, and every time I pass go, I get $2,000. How long are you going to play with me?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you, 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 you're not going to stay in the game,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. This is
and that's what's happening.
Yeah, I say at the top of the show, and I stand by it every time he comes on. There ain't nobody like Leonard Pitts Jr. Nobody turns a phrase like he does. I'm just wrestling with the visual of his commentary a moment ago, that they have dropped the fig leaves and they're just out there butt naked. The fig leaves have been dropped, and it's just a butt naked situation. Again, nobody turns a phrase quite like Leonard Pitts Jr. I got a lot to talk to him about in this hour. I'm glad I've got him for the hour. You're listening to Leonard Pitts Jr., Pulitzer Prize-winning, on Tavis Smiley.
Now I know the time has come. What goes on up is coming on down. Goes around, it comes around. So much trouble in the world.
Generous listening.
Charitable listening.
It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
California, this is your moment. The special election is November 4th, and your vote helps decide your future, your community, and your state. Drop your ballot at a secure drop box. Visit an early vote center or mail it. Your participation powers democracy. Every ballot makes a difference. Tell a friend to do the same. Sign up at where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov to track your ballot. Make your voice count. Don't delay. Vote today. A message from the California Secretary of State.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. S&P volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an S&P open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. you make a difference. Visit caSMPvolunteer.org.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Megan Good, Michael Hyatt, Golden Brooks, Ty Burrell, Christine Devine. They're all coming together on Saturday, November 1st at Paramount Picture Studios for the Kits Film Awards, a red carpet celebration of young filmmakers from right here in Los Angeles. Presented by Kids in the Spotlight. The Kids Film Awards showcase original short films written, cast, and performed by local youth. Powerful stories across every genre, from drama and comedy to action and suspense. It's a night that blends Hollywood energy with real community spirit, highlighting the future voices of film. These are the next generation of storytellers, stepping onto one of Hollywood's biggest stages. Come out and experience a night filled with film, music, and inspiration, where creativity, community, and purpose meet. Tickets are available now at kitsinc.org. That's KITSINC.org. The 2025 Kits Film Awards, Saturday, November 1st at Paramount Picture Studios. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, and Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist and director of the Center for Urban Journalism at Morgan State University, Leonard Pitts Jr., also a novelist, a best-selling author. Always thrilled to be in conversation with Leonard Pitts Jr., who always makes me think, makes me re-examine my assumptions, expand my inventory of ideas. Always delighted to be in conversation with Leonard Pitts Jr., especially on a day like today, where there's so much to talk about. Leonard, I'm just curious. I never asked you this question. Where is your Pulitzer? Where do you hide it?
I'm in my office. It's on the other side of the office in a little trophy case.
Okay. I went to. I don't know why I asked that question. I was thinking about my friend Jonathan Demme, the great filmmaker who passed away some years ago. I love Jonathan Demme. Jonathan Demme, of course, won the Academy Award for directing Silence of the Lambs and a bunch of other great work Jonathan did in his career. And one day, I was hanging out with Jonathan at his house in upstate New York. I went to visit him for the weekend, and so we're at Jonathan's house. I said, Jonathan, oh my God. I said, where is, this is the first time I'd ever seen one of these things in person. This is years ago. I said, Jonathan, where's your Oscar? Where's your Academy Award? And he pointed up, and there it was amongst a bunch of junk sitting on top of the refrigerator in the kitchen.
I've heard of people who keep theirs in bathrooms.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the honest to God truth.
Yeah.
For years, I had all these plaques and awards and stuff sitting on the floor in my office.
Right.
And they're only on the wall now and in the trophy case because my wife made me do it. So for whatever that's worth.
We thank her for that. Yeah. I just think
I had yeah.
I just thought it was funny.
All over the floor.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I looked up and here, I'm in Jonathan's kitchen. There his Academy Award is sitting on top of the refrigerator with some bread and some bunch of other junk. It's just Academy Award just sitting there. Anyway, I digress on that. So a couple of days ago, as you know, I've asked, we had a conversation about this on this program then. It must have been yesterday. Today's only Tuesday, right? Man, this week's going by.
Yeah.
Just yesterday we played this. But I want to play it again for those who may not have heard it, and certainly I want to play it to get your take on this because, again, your point of view always gives me something to wrestle with. So this is the sound that I'm sure you've heard already of Steve Bannon talking about Donald Trump getting a third term in 2028 and why they need him to have a third term. I'm playing this in part because I want to get Leonard's take on it, but also because Donald Trump has now responded to this notion of his running for a third term in 2028. So I want to play Bannon first so that it makes sense when I play Trump's response to all that nonsense as I see it, and then we'll cut Leonard Pitts Jr. loose. So Miles, give me the Bannon clip first.
going to get a third term. So Trump 28, Trump is going to be president in 28, and people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is, but there's a plan. We had longer odds in 16 and longer odds in 24 than we got in 28. And President Trump will be the president of the United States, and the country needs him to be president of the United States. We have to finish what we started. Trump is a vehicle. I know this will drive you guys crazy, but he's a vehicle of divine providence. He's an instrument. He's very imperfect. He's not churchy, not particularly religious, but he's an instrument of divine will. And you can tell this of how he's pulled this off. We need him for at least one more term, right? And he'll get that in 28.
You're not driving me crazy. I'm trying to understand the coherence of the things you've just told me. On the one hand, you've said the Constitution is fit for purpose. Secondly, you've said that President Trump needs another term, even though the 22nd Amendment makes pretty clear that he cannot have another term.
Why does it make that clear?
Because he's in his second term already.
At some point in time, we will make sure we go through Zanny and define all those terms.
But you will be undermining the spirit of that amendment, even if you find some way around it.
If the American people, with the mechanisms we have, put Trump back in office, are the American people tearing up the Constitution? Would that be tearing up?
Well,
would the American people be going against the spirit of the Constitution, ma'am?
I think yes, actually, because I think what you will end up with is a populist justification for a quasi-dictatorship.
So was Steve Bannon in conversation with a reporter from the Economist. We played that again yesterday if you were tuned into the program. Zanny Minton Beddoes is her name. Zanny Minton Beddoes, reporter for The Economist, was in conversation with Steve Bannon, and he elicited those comments from him. Okay, here's what Donald Trump now has to say about all that.
Sir, Steve Bannon said in a recent interview that there could be plans for you to be able to run and potentially win a third term in 2028. Is that something you'd be willing to challenge in court to be able to do?
I haven't really thought about it. We have some very good people, as you know, but I have the best poll numbers I've ever had.
You said that for 2028 there are very good people who you have in mind.
Oh, we have great people. I don't have to get into that, but we have one of them standing right here. We have J.D., obviously. The vice president is great. I think Marco's great. I think, I'm not sure if anybody would run against us. I think if they ever formed a group, it would be unstoppable. I really do. I believe that. I would love to do it. I have my best numbers ever. It's very terrible. I have my best numbers.
So you're not ruling out a third term?
Am I not ruling it out? You'll have to tell me. All I can tell you is that we have a great group of people, which they don't.
One theory on how you might try to serve a third term is that you could run as the vice president.
Yeah, I'd be allowed to do that.
Is it the White House's or the White House counsel's or his legal position, I guess?
You'd be allowed to do that, but I wouldn't do that. I think it's too cute. Yeah, I would rule that out because it's too cute. I think the people wouldn't like that. It's too cute. It's not. It wouldn't be right.
So he ain't ruling it out altogether, Leonard Pitts Jr., but being vice president is ruled out because that would be too cute. What do you make of all of this talk about Donald Trump in 2028?
I am reminded of a individual I met on social media who told me that Trump couldn't run because, the Constitution says he can't. It's against the rules. And it just reminds me that for all that we've been through and all that we've seen, we still have this naive belief that the rules are going to save us. And the thing I keep telling people is the rules only matter. The rules only have force if we all agree to abide by them. If 2 o'clock in the morning, you're out driving and you come across a red light at a four-way stop and you're the only car on the road, you're going to stop. You may, no cops, nobody else coming, but you're going to stop. Now, you may decide, okay, there's nobody here. It's silly. I'm going to go on through this intersection. But you're initially going to stop. And why is that? Because it's drilled in you. The social covenant says, this light, we do this thing. We obey this rule. Even when there's nobody around watching us, we obey this here rule. And what they've been systematically doing is breaking not just the rules, but breaking our belief in the rules. You go back to the way Mitch McConnell stole two Supreme Court
That's right.
seats from
Mm-hmm.
Barack Obama.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't break any laws, but he shattered norms.
Mm.
He shattered our expectation of this is the way our government works. And you protest and you do and you complain, and he just sort of gives us a little smile. And in the meantime, we've got this extreme and as a result, rather, we end up with this extreme right wing court that we should not have.
Mm-hmm.
That we should not have. And that's because they've decided, they understand that anything that the right wing wants, anything that Trumpers people want, if you put it to a straight up or down vote of the American people, they are not going to win.
Yeah.
There are more of us than there are of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I can't win fairly, what do?
Yeah.
I change the rules.
That's it.
I get $2,000 when I pass go.
Mm-hmm.
You get a couple hundred.
Yeah. No, when you can't change the game, you change the rules.
Exactly.
And that's what they're doing. I mean, the reality is that this country is more multicultural, multiracial, multi-ethnic than ever before. We are hurtling inexorably toward that day when we will be a country, a minority nation. They fully understand that, hence all the scare about the great replacement theory, et cetera, et cetera. But they see that day coming. And so you can't change the game, so you change the rules. And Leonard Pitts Jr. is right. It only matters if everybody agrees to play by the rules, Leonard.
Yeah, all of that, all the good stuff that we take for, freedom of speech.
Yeah.
I theoretically have freedom of speech, the right to say whatever I want to say, and I do until I don't.
Yeah, we just talked about that in our last hour before you came on. We were talking about this Mr. Hamdi, Sami Hamdi, who has been the latest person to be abducted and detained for exercising his free speech rights. He's visiting here from the UK, but they didn't like what he said about Israel, so they snatched him up at an airport. And we talked about that in our last hour. So this question still looms as to whether free speech is for everybody. It doesn't say free speech for citizens. It says free speech. And so people come here and they express themselves. Donald Trump doesn't like what you say, and so they get you. They detain you and try to deport you and again, as we discussed in the last hour, not for saying stuff about us, mind you, but for saying stuff about Israel. That's what you get hemmed up for. So I take your point. Let me just ask you this, because you've been writing about this, have written about this for years. You Pulitzer Prize winner. What do you make of the fact that decades ago, we talked about Lewis Powell on this program yesterday, former Supreme Court justice. And that Powell letter years ago, that Powell memo. What do you make of the fact that Republicans figured out decades ago the importance and the value of the courts while Democrats were asleep at the wheel? They understood in the years to come, and now we see it playing out, the importance, the value, the power of the courts.
I think Democrats, and I don't know why it is, but Democrats in general, African Americans, I think also, this is true of, have historically been more reactive than proactive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we're seeing the results of that. The overturning or the gutting of the Voting Rights Act didn't happen overnight. It happened as a result of a multi-decade campaign.
Mm-hmm.
To overturn the Voting Rights Act. If you're paying attention, then you know that Senator Paul and I forget what's his name, Charlie Kirk, the tragically murdered provocateur, both came out and said, the Civil Rights Act needs to be reconsidered.
That's right.
They both said that. Now I know of no legal action underway to do that, but it kind of lets you know where their heads are on.
Mm-hmm.
We've gutted and neutered the Voting Rights Act pretty much. Now let's see about this Civil Rights Act thing. The Civil Rights Act the Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964, which is 61 years ago. Is my math correct?
Mm-hmm.
It's 61 years ago. And so, for people like me and people like you, we've come of age with it enough that we can take it for granted.
Yeah.
But I think it was Jefferson. I think I'm quoting Jefferson correctly, that the eternal vigilance is the price of liberty.
Mm-hmm.
We have not been eternally vigilant in the least. We have assumed that victories won are victories always. And the right wing, on the other hand, has had a different opinion altogether. That defeat is not eternal.
Yeah.
That we lost this, but we can get it back.
Yeah.
I used to say half jokingly, and I still say it, but I ain't joking anymore. that the right wing wants to repeal the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was my line. You know,
Mm-hmm.
rim shot. They want, but it wasn't really a joke then, but it's definitely not a joke now. We're out to repeal the 20th century.
Yeah.
And you know, and again, you know, you find the left watching reactively.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always reactively.
It wouldn't be fair to ask you this question in 30 seconds to respond. Let me tell you where I want to go when we come forward in this conversation with Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist and director of the Center for Urban Journalism at Morgan State University, Leonard Pitts Jr. I've been thinking about this for a while lately, and every day I sit in this chair, Leonard, I have to play these clips of Donald Trump. Of late, they're all on Air Force One because he's been traveling around the world a lot lately, so I hate the audio, but we're playing these clips of Trump all the time, talking about, you know, X, Y, and Z, ABC. But there's something about this that hit me a few days ago, and I've known this, but it's hit me more acutely this week, which is that unlike any president that I have ever known or ever covered, Donald Trump answers questions. Obviously, he's a media guy. He loves the media. He was a TV star. I get all of that. But for a president, he has no equal when it comes to always answering questions. He makes himself available. He ain't scared to answer your question. He'll say whatever he wants to say, but he answers questions. He shows up. He talks to the media. He answers whatever questions they throw at him. Now, you ain't got to like his answers. And he lies through his teeth, no question about that. But my point is he shows up, and he always answers reporters' questions. You can see where I'm going with that when we come forward with Leonard Pitts Jr.
Why does Tavis say, when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The trial for Florida rapper Julio Fulio's murder continues in Tampa. Prosecutors say Alicia Andrews acted as a lookout while 3 gunmen ambushed Fulio, real name Charles Jones, in a hotel parking lot. A crime scene expert testified bullet fragments were found in his car.
My sole job was going to be to photograph further and document the damage and potentially pull any projectiles from that vehicle.
Andrews faces first-degree murder and conspiracy charges. Over 50 students at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga marched to protest the school's restructuring of DEI programs. It's the second protest since Tennessee passed a law banning DEI in public universities and government offices. And Sean Diddy Combs is set for release from federal prison on May 8, 2028. His lawyers plan to appeal. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It took 18 innings and 6 hours and 39 minutes, but the Dodgers got it done. And yes, I was up at 11:50 last night when Freddie Freeman provided the dramatic finish. Freeman led off the 18th inning with a solo home run that cleared the center field wall and gave the Dodgers a historic 6-5 win over Toronto in Game 3 of the World Series. The game tied the record for longest World Series game ever played. Freeman hit a walk-off grand slam in Game 1 of last year's World Series against the Yankees. The Dodgers take a 2-1 lead in the best of 7. Game 4 is tonight at Dodger Stadium at 5 o'clock. Shohei Ohtani, if he has any energy left, is scheduled to be the Dodgers starting pitcher. Ohtani set 2 World Series records last night, reaching base 9 times and delivering 4 extra base hits, including 2 home runs.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It took 18 innings and 6 hours and 39 minutes, but the Dodgers got it done. And yes, I was up at 11:50 last night when Freddie Freeman provided the dramatic finish. Freeman led off the 18th inning with a solo home run that cleared the center field wall and gave the Dodgers a historic 6-5 win over Toronto in Game 3 of the World Series. The game tied the record for longest World Series game ever played. Freeman hit a walk-off grand slam in Game 1 of last year's World Series against the Yankees. The Dodgers take a 2-1 lead in the best of 7. Game 4 is tonight at Dodger Stadium at 5 o'clock. Shohei Ohtani, if he has any energy left, is scheduled to be the Dodgers starting pitcher. Ohtani set 2 World Series records last night, reaching base 9 times and delivering 4 extra base hits, including 2 home runs. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Leonard Pitts Jr., Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist and director of the Center for Urban Journalism at Morgan State University in Baltimore City. Pleased to have Leonard Pitts Jr. back on this program. So, Leonard, I was just saying a moment ago before the break, for those who may have just tuned in, that I've been thinking a lot about this lately, that Donald Trump is unique in a variety of ways, to be sure. But one of the ways that he is unique amongst U.S. presidents, certainly in my lifetime, is that nobody has ever been as willing to go into the lion's den, as it were, on Air Force One, in the Rose Garden that's now cemented over, inside the White House, in the Oval Office, in the press room, wherever he is. Donald Trump appears to be unafraid at any point in time, anywhere, to answer the questions of reporters. And you've done this long enough, and I've done this long enough to know that that ain't how presidents typically show up. How do I read that? That Donald Trump ain't scared to answer reporters' questions?
Well, let me say a couple of things.
Okay.
First of all, it's easy to answer questions if you're not really worried about the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of former presidents and politicians in general, they don't want to answer questions. One, because maybe they don't want you to know the answer, or it might make them look bad. But two, to be more generous to at least some of them, there's the fact that if I answer this question honestly, it's going to have repercussions for the stock market. It's going to have repercussions for whatever, the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to keep some things close to my vest. I think that's particularly true of at the presidential level. You can't always say everything that you feel like you want to say,
Right.
unless you're Donald Trump. The other thing, though, then the second thing, he loves attention. So
Yep, sure.
You got that. But the other thing is, I would push back just a little bit on your
Sure.
premise that he always answers questions.
Okay.
Because the fact is, he doesn't. He doesn't answer questions he doesn't like, particularly from African American women reporters.
Mm-hmm.
When those questions come up, and questions come up that are a little bit too pointed or a little bit too barbed, he falls back on, what a nasty question. You're such a nasty woman. How can you answer that? How can you ask me that?
Yeah, I got you.
So,
Yeah.
he ain't all that brave.
Yeah.
He's just,
He ain't all that brave. I take your point. I take that distinction, and what I obviously meant was he ain't afraid to stand in front of reporters. But you're right. He doesn't always answer every question that is posed to him to the letter. I take that. But I guess the point is that in the years after Donald Trump, although if they have their way, they're going to run again and win in 2028. But at some point, Donald Trump will not be president either because he can't run or he dies. At some point, he's going to be off the scene. And I wonder if he's ushered us into a new era in the media of being used to this sort of unusual and unfettered access to the president.
I don't know that's going to hold, because I don't think everybody else is going to have the same sensibilities as Trump.
Right.
I mean, anybody else that's in that office, I don't know that they're going to have the same sensibilities. Trump, let's face it, has worn down a lot of us.
Yeah, no question.
Particularly in news media, I think he's worn down a lot of resistance with just the nonstop inanity and insanity, I think, have taken a toll on journalists and journalism, and on the people in general. I don't know that anybody else will be able to match just the velocity and the amount of high grade bovine waste product that he puts out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I referenced earlier in today's program, because this is breaking news in case people are listening right now weren't listening earlier. One of the largest unions of federal government employees, with an African American president, no less, who we're trying to book on this program tomorrow. He's been on before. Has essentially sided with Republicans and Donald Trump, saying it's time to shut this. It's time to end this shutdown, put these workers back to work. And so it's starting to crack a little on the left. This is, again, a major union making this decision, making this statement. How have you been following? How have you been processing this government shutdown, Leonard Pitts Jr.?
Well, again, there's so much coming at you that it's hard to focus on any one thing, which I know is part of the plan. I am saying, this is the first I'm hearing this from you, that there is this call on the left for an end of the shutdown. I hope the Democrats and the left will hold firm, even though I understand that there is a great cost. And when I talk about cost, I mean in terms of our individual lives, our individual pocketbooks, our individual stomachs. Of people who are government workers. I understand there's a great cost, but I think there's a greater cost to letting Republicans gut health care in this country, which is quiet as it's kept, is the sticking point here that they don't want to really deal with. So we're in a very difficult place. But I don't think we'll be in a less difficult place if we cave in. I think in the long run we'll be in a more difficult place.
Yep, I could agree more. Leonard echoes what I said earlier on this program. I jumped in that conversation so quickly with Leonard, I didn't acknowledge the union. It's the American Federation of Government Employees, AFGE, American Federation of Government Employees. Its president, Everett Kelly, happens to be an African-American male. Again, he's been on this program before. Trying to get him on this program tomorrow, but they've called for a clean bill. A clean resolution, which is essentially siding with Trump and Republicans, Leonard.
See, here's the thing: you can't appease the bully.
Exactly.
You give him your milk money I was a bullied kid in middle school and elementary school, so I speak from experience. Okay, you give him your milk money on Monday and think it's over. No, he wants your milk money and your lunch money on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on. It does not stop. One thing I had to learn, I think we as a country have to learn: the bully does not stop until you make the bully stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so this whole idea of we'll appease him. How much more appeasement can we stand?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sensitive to the argument Mr. Kelly makes. I mean, their union members are hurting.
Yes.
I get all of that. But I think that it's a miscalculation. I think it's a strategic mistake. If I get him on tomorrow, I will tell him that lovingly and respectfully, because I think this is going to increase pressure on Democrats to budge from their present stance. And as we know, it ain't the easiest thing for Democrats to find a spine in the first place,
Exactly.
much less to stand firm. And so when you have major unions that are starting again to show cracks in the armor, as I said earlier on today's program, I my sense is that if they do this as one of the largest, somebody else is sure to follow. And then Democrats are going to be, under some pressure to go back to the bargaining table. And then these unions that Donald Trump has no regard or respect for will be the ones in part to blame for the way this thing ends, and Donald Trump gets to declare victory again. That's how I see this thing playing out if other unions line up behind this one, Leonard.
I think that the Democrats and the left in general needs to learn the truth of something that Dr. King told us years ago. He said, "A man who hasn't found something that he's willing to die for is not fit to live."
Yeah.
And when I say die, I don't mean just physically dying. I mean lose your power for, lose your career for,
That's right.
struggle for, have hardship for, whatever this Rubicon is that you don't want to cross.
Yeah.
You may have to cross that. And I'm not trivializing it. I'm understanding that this comes at cost.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the greater cost comes if you don't do that. The greater cost comes if you say, "Oh, we can appease the bully and we'll get it back on the backside." You are not going to get it back.
Yeah.
I ain't got my milk money back yet. I'll just put it to you like that.
Dr. King also said, Leonard, as you well know, that when you straighten your back up, when a man straightens up his back, he's going somewhere, because they can't ride your back unless it's bent. They can only ride you back when it's bent. And so when you straighten your back up, you're going somewhere. So bending over at a moment like this is not the position I think one wants to be in. So we'll hopefully talk to Everett Kelly on this program tomorrow about why this major union made this decision today and how uncomfortable that's going to make Democratic leadership in D.C. Again, hard enough to get these guys to stand up as it is. And they've done a pretty good job for the last 3 or 4 weeks here. But now these unions are starting to get shaky on them. More of the Leonard Pitts Jr. when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
On Thursday evening, November 6th, you're invited to the next KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Town Hall meeting. This time, we're convening at Victory Bible Church, 1497 North Hill Avenue in Pasadena. The town hall will once again be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580 from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursday, November 6th. But you're invited to join us in person for this urgent and necessary community conversation. The theme for this Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire Town Hall is understanding the Wildfire Recovery Compensation Fund. The primary focus of this gathering is to inform residents about Southern California Edison's newly launched Wildfire Recovery Compensation Program and provide clarity on eligibility and the claims process. There are plenty of questions to be asked, and only KBLA Talk 1580 has the right moderators to ask the tough questions, the right stakeholders and community activists to share their insights, and we have confirmed the participation of corporate executives from Southern California Edison to answer our queries. So be sure to join us at Victory Bible Church in Pasadena, 1497 North Hill Avenue on Thursday, November 6th. The event is free and open to the public, but registration is required at kbla1580.com. That's kbla1580.com. Light refreshments will be served immediately following the live town hall. This KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Rising Town Hall is brought to you by the Black Freedom Fund.
California, this is your moment. The special election is November 4th, and your vote helps decide your future, your community, and your state. Drop your ballot at a secure drop box. Visit an early vote center or mail it. Your participation powers democracy. Every ballot makes a difference. Tell a friend to do the same. Sign up at where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov to track your ballot. Make your voice count. Don't delay. Vote today. A message from the California Secretary of State.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, Leonard Pitts Jr. I'm just looking at a story here that I'm trying to get my arms around right quick. So we've done it again, apparently, Leonard. The Trump administration, Pete Hegseth, is bragging about killing some more people on some more boats in the Pacific. The ways in which they are using our military is unprecedented. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, again, they throw what the Trump administration throws at you in 1 week would have been 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
Of stuff in any other presidential administration. So it's just, I think, and again, I say this, it's by design so that it's difficult for you to focus your attention on any one thing. This thing about he's gonna blow up drug boats. First of all, if it's a drug boat, you arrest you stop the boat, you board the boat, you arrest the people aboard, especially if it's in international waters. I am intensely uncomfortable with this whole idea that particularly this administration, really any administration, but in particularly this administration, can unilaterally say, oh, that's a drug boat, and blow it up.
Mm-hmm.
Before the people on the drug boat can even, have their day in quote unquote court.
Yeah.
And what makes it even more frightening, and I don't know if you saw this, Trump is saying that they're going to be doing the same thing, quote, on land, close quote. So there's a definition for that when you go into another sovereign country and start blowing things up. That's called war.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that this is a frightening thought. It could be argued that blowing up another nation's citizens at sea, frankly, is an act of war, but definitely to do it within their borders is an act of warfare. So again, crazy times.
Yeah, the Pentagon has said, to give you more detail, the Pentagon has said that that it carried out 3 strikes on 4 alleged drug smuggling vessels in the eastern Pacific Ocean, killing 14 people. This is the most significant wave of attacks so far in this military campaign by Donald Trump to target, as they say, the flow of illegal narcotics. But another 14 people dead. 1 person survived, but Hegseth and Trump are out of control, blowing up these boats all over the place. And again, 14 people dead in this latest attack. Our remaining moments with Leonard Pitts Jr. when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-237-8585. That's 800-237-8585. Again, that's 800-237-8585.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Leonard Pitts Jr. Just a few minutes left in this conversation with the Pulitzer Prize winner. Leonard, more than 24 Democratic states have sued the Trump administration for suspending these SNAP benefits. They're about to run out in a couple of days. And the Trump administration has not budged on this yet, but a lot of these poor people are in red states. When we see these food bank lines grow, is that going to move the heart of the king?
No. It's not going to move the heart of the king, and
Yeah.
more importantly, I don't think it's going to move the hearts of the folks who voted him into office. We often accuse the white underclass of sort of voting against their own interests, and as Isabel Wilkerson points out in her book Caste, that reflects our misunderstanding of their interests as they define them. They don't see their interests as, I want more income, I want better access to health care, I want better access to food, et cetera, et cetera. Their interest is in maintaining and extending white hegemony, white power.
Yeah.
And so I think they're willing to starve for that. I forget the name of the book. Heather McGee wrote a book a few years ago in which she talked about how white folk, when the desegregation law started coming down, white folk all around the country closed down these beautiful municipal pools, Olympic-sized municipal pools, where everybody could go and cool off in the heat of the summer, rather than let black folk into the pools.
Yeah.
And I think about that sometimes when I imagine some white guy sitting out on his backyard on the hottest day of summer with his feet in a kiddie pool drinking a beer trying to get cool. You could have been in a really nice pool.
Mm-hmm.
But Grandpa prioritized his white supremacy ahead of the swimming pool. So I don't think too much has changed in the 60-some years since that, and I will not be surprised to see these same folk, prioritizing their white hegemony over their SNAP benefits. That does not surprise me at all.
I think that book is called The Sum of Us. Is that right?
That's right. The Sum of Us. Yeah,
Heather McGee's book.
Thank you.
Yeah. Leonard Pitts Jr., I thank you for your insights, as always, on this program. Just a full day of breaking news. I'm going to recap that for the audience in just a second here after I let Leonard go. Leonard, thanks for your time. All the best to you, and I hope to talk to you soon, my friend.
My pleasure. Take care.
Good to have you on this program. Just recapping some of the news of this hour. So we Leonard and I were just talking, as you heard, about these more than 24 Democratic states suing the Trump administration over suspending these SNAP benefits. These are set to run out just a few days from now on November the 1st. And so a lot of hungry people, a lot of hungry women and children are going to be trying to find support at food banks in the days ahead when these SNAP benefits dry up. So that lawsuit was filed today on behalf of these states. I mentioned earlier in this show, and Leonard and I discussed this briefly, the U.S. has killed another 14 people in this latest attack on alleged drug boats in the Pacific. So Donald Trump and Hegseth at Defense, or at Department of War, as they call it, keep blowing up boats and killing people. Israel has launched another strike on Gaza after Bibi Netanyahu accuses Hamas of breaching the ceasefire. Those strikes are underway, even as we speak, I am told, while I'm on the air here. And last but not least, Hurricane Melissa, Category 5, is making its way right now through the tiny island nation of Jamaica. And we will see in the coming hours and days what damage Hurricane Melissa will have done to Jamaica. What a full show. What a full 3 hours. All kinds of breaking news, weaving in this breaking stuff as best we could alongside these conversations. Back here tomorrow, Lord willing, to do it all over again. Hopefully not as much breaking news tomorrow, but one never knows. Until then, thanks for tuning in to Tavis, Smiley, and as always, keep the faith.